Coming up next is a fireside chat session on strengthening solar value chain, a Make in India perspective. I would like to invite Sudheer to take the conversation ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again on our platform. I am Sudheer, and this is a fireside chat with Mirunalini, Chellappan. She's the director of Swelect Energy Systems. It's a large company in the solar manufacturing space, and we're trying to understand from her, her views on some of the different trends that are emerging and evolving in this space, and also the company's own growth plans or growth strategy going forward. Very warm welcome to you, Nalini, on this fireside chat. Can you start this discussion by briefly talking about first of all the larger profile of the company, right? Its history, its highlights of the growth so far, what are the different business segments that it is present in, etc. Just to set the context of the discussion.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Sudheer, for the opportunity and the introduction. Yeah. So Swelect Energy Systems, it's it's a 36-year-old or now 37-year-old company that's listed in BSE NSE. So we are a public listed company, been listed for more than 25 years now. And so to give a brief profile about the company, we were earlier known as Numeric Power Systems, one of the leading UPS manufacturer in India. So we were established in 1984, like any other startup. It started in a small garage and then grew to be one of the largest manufacturing companies in India and abroad, with with 8 factories across the country, more than 260 service locations pan-India, which was the highest that any UPS manufacturer has given as a service center to its customers. And being in the UPS field, which is basically a power conversion business, where you convert AC power to DC and DC to AC, for us, getting into solar was a very natural extension, because we only do half the conversion there. It's DC power to AC power. So, we started exploring, getting into the solar, exploring into it sometime in 1995. When we had our very first solar installation, in one of our factories, which was a very small installation, but it was quite exciting at the time. And then, slowly in around 2006-07 is when we seriously started thinking about solar as a division on its own. And in fact, our very first installation was, a commercial installation was for Karnataka Bank, 40 of its center, where we used solar and off-grid systems and a battery-based system, basically, across various locations in Karnataka. And this was in 2006-07. So from that time, for us, it was solar was always something that was very close to our heart, because when we were in the UPS business also, for us, it was not only about reducing the power consumption and energy efficiency, it was also about how do you inject clean energy into the grid and consume clean energy from the grid. So being clean and green was something that was always there in our DNA. So, we had a full-fledged solar division by the time we were, in 2008. And from there on, we had started exploring and building our own solar inverters, charge controllers and all. So in 2012, we sold our UPS division to a French company like Legrand, which you all know. And we decided that we will concentrate completely on solar and renewable energy only. So that's how Swelect was born, which is solar, wind, electrical, and sine wave electronics. It's not only that we generate green energy using solar and wind or whatever be the renewables, whatever you inject into the grid should also be clean. And so that's why sine wave electronics. So that is a basic concept about the company and its name. And so in 2012, after the business transfer, we completely started concentrating in solar division, which was not actually a breadwinner at that time when the business transfer happened. So for us, it was more or less like having a startup, but with all the overheads and, the team that many of the team members that we already had. So from there on, we started picking up. So we started getting into the EPC business on a larger scale. And also we constructed our very first IPP plant at that time, so doing a sale to board to Tangent Co under the REC scheme. So our concept has always been that we first experience, we first construct, we first see what are the challenges, what could be the issues that come up, and what is the best quality of products that we can give. And then only we offer to the customer. So always most of the IPP projects and EPC projects were all rooftop projects, were always on our rooftops or our, for our own consumption. And then that's how we offer to the customers. And then what we started realizing was, a solar power plant has a life of 25 years. So which means that you have to give the solar panel being the heart of the, the entire power plant. The warranties and the guarantees are always tied to the solar panel. So if that is not under our control, then we are always dependent on a manufacturer to ensure that the power generation guarantees are given. So that's the reason when we started thinking that, okay, for us, if we have to honor our warranties and guarantees to the customers, then we should have the quality of the solar panels completely under our control, so that when we go to the customer, it goes as a package solution where they do not have to depend on any of the manufacturer for the warranties. And we are, end of the day, accountable for the entire power plant. So that's when we decided, okay, we will acquire HHV Solar, which is a well-known brand in the solar module division. And in 2013 and 14, we acquired HHV Solar, which gave a lot of confidence to the customers. Because when we go for an EPC project, we do not, usually what happens in EPC projects is that system integration. When there is an issue with the module, usually the system integrator says that the warranty is back to back, so the manufacturer has to give the warranty, and the manufacturer ends up saying that the system integrator has not installed as per the conditions that we have told. There is always these clauses in the warranty document which talk about installation conditions, and end of the day, the customer is the one that suffers. So at that time, we could offer a solution to the customer where we are the ones that give the complete solar module. So we are accountable there. And the module mounting structure was also provided from our facility. We have a 200 megawatt module mounting structure. And balance of systems, if you look at the ACDBs, DCDBs, the junction boxes, were all from our factory. So that way, at least 70 to 80% of the components that went into a solar power plant was from our own facility under our own quality control, which gave the customers a lot of confidence when they came to us. So, so in 2013-14, we acquired HHV Solar, and we were, by that time, we also had our own factory, which was doing the module mounting structures and the balance of systems. So that has a capacity of 200 megawatt at this point of time. And slowly we entered into the EPC projects. We became quite strong in rooftop. In fact, we have over 10,000 installations across the country, if you take rooftop, solar, water pumps, and the utility scale projects that we have done. So today, if you see who are we, what is Swelect? So Swelect is a complete 360-degree company that has 4 major verticals. The first and foremost is the manufacturing vertical, where we have solar modules and the balance of systems manufactured. The second vertical is the channels and the distribution market vertical, where we have over 100 dealers across the country and a few abroad as well. And then third is the EPC and the O&M vertical, where we take up a niche market of, not too small, neither on the, 50 megawatt and above range, where there are a lot of industries that are looking for capacities between 5 to 30 megawatt of installation. So we are over there. And then we also have an IPP vertical. We have about 120 megawatt of IPP power plants at this point of time, where we do open access. We do third-party power sale to various customers like Airport Authority of India in Chennai and V-Guard. So these kind of customers are there. And then, of course, we have a very strong product division where we are exploring into energy storage. We explore into green hydrogen and air to water generation. So these are certain projects that we have taken up on the side. So in fact, on the energy storage, we have a very exciting update where we are about to commission a utility scale energy storage project, where we will be able to support one of our own factories for captive consumption using lithium-ion batteries post the sun hours. So that's about it, about the company.
Okay.
And we are also a tier 1 rated company. So our modules are Bloomberg tier 1 certified bankable modules that we have.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mirunalini, for that really long answer that takes us through the entire journey of the company. And thanks for that. This project you're talking about, storage, what's the size of it? If you could share some more details of that.
So this is more of an experimental storage project. So the size is quite small. The solar installation is that particular installation is a 30 megawatt installation, but the storage that we have is less than half a megawatt hour. So it is more of an experimental project that we have started, and we'll be scaling up on that.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. One thing that I wanted to understand from you is, as somebody who represents the management of a company like that, how do you view the entire solar power space in India in terms of the kind of growth potential that it has? What are the specific areas of opportunities that you see existing, and where specifically do you think the challenges lie? If challenges that need to be addressed if we have to meet the kind of growth, the really large growth targets that we have.
Yeah. So as we all know, India has taken up quite a very ambitious target of achieving 50% of its energy needs from renewable energy by 2030, and adding another 400 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity to its energy generation plans. So given that we do see a huge growth potential in the power sector, and there is a lot of industrialization and automation that is happening right now, a huge expansion that is also going on in all the segments, where we do feel that the potential is definitely there. So given that there is a huge opportunity that is there in terms of power plant development. It could be in terms of pure solar power plants and bundling them with energy storage, bundled storage and generation options. So these are a few areas where we see a good growth potential. And the second, where an opportunity lies, it's still untouched, is on green hydrogen. So where we feel both in terms of the electric vehicle market, the vehicle industry, as well as the various needs that we see for the various industrial processes. Green hydrogen would be something that would definitely be the need of the hour, and has a huge scope and potential. Of course, challenges over here for the new technology that we talk about, let's say hydrogen or EV, has always been the cost. But as with what we've seen with the solar industry, with the right government policy and support, those challenges, once the volumes pick up and there is a push from the government, those challenges can be overcome. But coming back to the solar potential, definitely manufacturing is one space to be in at this point of time, where government is also supporting with a lot of policies and schemes, and Make in India motto has been helping quite a bit. So we do see a good scope over there as well. Manufacturing would be the key. So the challenges, what we see in all of these would be first and foremost, even though there are a lot of policies coming up, there are still a lot of open-ended questions and policy uncertainties which need to be addressed, and the confidence level has to, among the industry people has to go up, number one. Number two is on the predatory pricing that is happening, both in the domestic market as well as in the imported market. And this is also because of the kind of, the competitive bidding system that we have in place, where it is always L1 based, and post getting the L1, there is also reverse auctioning that happens, and renegotiations that happen. So these are leading to a lot of, cost-cutting measures that are taking place, both in terms of the products as well as the projects getting installed. So that definitely a certain, the government has to take a stand and look at not only the cost of a project, the CapEx cost, but they also need to look at cost of poor quality. It could be poor quality product. It could be a poor quality installation. So what is the wastage you're going to see because of the poor quality? So the cost of COPQ, as we say, is something that is very important, and the government has to look into that, which I think now is also slowly getting addressed by, there are some initiatives where they're looking at what are the guidelines for installation of a solar system. But this has to be made stronger, taking into account the industrial stakeholders. Apart from that, for manufacturing per se, as long as we are dependent for raw materials through imports, we are always going to be lagging behind. So that way the PLI scheme has been something very encouraging, but it definitely has to be made stronger, where we look at starting with semiconductor fabs, setting up semiconductor fab and complete backward integration. Not only, looking at, India should not be looked at as an assembly line. We are not an assembly line. We are not an integrator. We have to be the ones that truly manufacture the products. So.
Yeah, thanks, Mirunalini. Very, very valid points, no doubt. You're basically saying that there's a mad rush for pushing tariffs down and down, further and further down, to the extent that it's time when we should also think about what would be the ultimate cost of that bad quality product that may be getting into the system. Absolutely valid point. It's very important to understand that we should not get carried away by this entire rush for really low tariffs. But anyway, moving forward, one thing that I want to understand from you is from a strategy point of view, how do you plan to shape the future of the company, right, over the next few years in terms of multiple things like capacity addition? What exactly is the plan? Or manpower, the skill sets that are going to be required for it. Revenue and profitability is, of course, one part of it. And what exactly is the kind of capex that you will be requiring? That's one part of it. And in addition, if you could also tell us a bit about all these different areas of the solar power sector where you have a presence, whether it is EPC, O&M, open access, third party, or even RESCO, things like that. Which one of them do you think is going to contribute more and more of your business and profitability going forward? Where would you want to focus more in future? Yeah.
As Swelect, we take pride in calling ourselves a product company and a technology company. So manufacturing is one of our key areas and growth areas that we're looking at. So that way, at this point, we are expanding into a 500 megawatt facility, which is currently under construction and will be commissioning pretty soon. And we will be adding on another 500 megawatts soon, and possibility of expanding into cell line addition as well. This is on the manufacturing segment. At the same time, we are also looking at exploring new opportunities where we're looking at green hydrogen is one of our key focus areas, as well as energy storage. So we've already started working on projects on energy storage. Energy storage is something very close to our heart, coming from a UPS background. So these two are the other two areas that we're looking at. Then in terms of EPC, IPP, RESCO, what are the segments we will be concentrating on? Our key focus areas would be on EPC and IPP, third party energy sale, where we do find there is still a huge demand that is not yet been met with in terms of third party sale, and that is going to be one of our key focus areas, where we will be building the solar power plants and sale of energy to the various industrial customers. And EPC will continue for us, and that would be the one that would be adding on the top line. So that's how we look at it. EPC would help us with the top line, and IPP would help us with the bottom line.
Okay. If I were to ask you as a manufacturer, how do you think that the combination of different government interventions which are currently being talked about or being introduced, like solar PLI or BCD or ALMM, things like that, all of this, what would be the sum total of it? In terms of how do you think that this entire combination of these interventions will impact your business and also the larger growth of the solar power sector going forward? How would you comment?
Okay, so PLI and ALMM are excellent initiatives that have been taken by the government. So what we feel is that these are still short-term interventions, or maximum we can call it as a medium-term solution for making India truly a Make in India kind of country. So on the PLI front, it is going to help various manufacturers to make them get into the backward integration up to ingot manufacturing, polysilicon. So that is definitely going to give the right push to get into it. What would have been also good would be it would have been good if the government could have extended the set the criteria such that the MSMEs and the smaller players are also able to get into the scheme, participate in the scheme. India is a country that has been completely built by MSMEs. MSMEs are the backbone of the country. So that being the case, definitely importance for scale and volume has to be given. Hence, we understand the PLI numbers initially what was given, where they were talking about minimum of 1 gigawatt to qualify. So that is understood, but there should be a scheme which also talks about, which gives an opportunity for MSMEs. The reason being, this also helps with distributed level of skill development, job opportunities, as well as when we talk about reduction in carbon footprint. Unless you have distributed manufacturing, you will be losing a lot of carbon footprint in terms of transportation. So these are certain things that we can avoid. But that being said, PLI and ALMM are a great boost to the domestic manufacturing, and we do see that this will help bring down costs in terms of manufacturing in India and help the solar power developers. That being said, in order to see the true benefit and truly make India a Make in India kind of a company, a country, we need to take a leaf out of what China has done, where they had this program where by 2025 they wanted China to be a true world leader in terms of energy giving, in terms of energy generation and in the energy market. So the core of all of this started with funding your innovation and R&D. So are we truly product owners? Are we truly innovators in the country is something we need to see. That's where it all starts. With so much of BCD being collected now, it will start in April. A lot of the funds must be redirected into innovation into the country. And then that has to kind of percolate to, in terms of not only material manufacturing, do we have the complete ecosystem to manufacture the equipments that help in manufacturing? So each and every aspect of manufacturing has to be taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the great comment, Nalini. And I think we're done with the questions. It has been very, very, interesting talking to you about all of these aspects. But I think we'll have to close this discussion now. A lot of really important things we can take as key takeaways from this discussion, including, for example, I think it's very important for companies to understand that the idea of being present in the entire value chain of solar, right, rather than only one segment. So that when you actually face problems on the ground, as the system integrator aspect that you were talking about, it's very important to understand that. And the company understood that at an early stage and worked towards it. It's one key takeaway. The point that this mad rush for solar, driving solar tariffs down, it may be impacting quality, right? Again, a very, very valid point. It's important, can never be overemphasized, right? There are multiple reports also which point at the need to look at that aspect, no doubt about it. Again, a very important point about MSMEs, whether or not they are getting the opportunity to be part of the entire PLI manufacturing related boom that we are trying to create. And lastly, a very important point, like China did, we have to focus on R&D and innovation. Somehow that's one area that gets missed out whenever India starts talking about trying to give boost to one particular industry. we don't have a very encouraging, as a country, a very encouraging track record of investing in things like R&D. So again, a very important point, and this is something that will determine to a very large extent how far we're able to reach with our ambitions. But anyway, absolutely fantastic talking to you, Mirunalini. Please carry on. Thanks for your time, and we really look forward to hosting you again on this platform. Pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Sudheer.
Thank you, Ms. Chellappan and Sudheer, for such a detailed and insightful conversation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move to the next session. Stay tuned and keep tweeting using the hashtag ETSolarCongress.